So just a quick recap. Yesterday we did a couple of post-build activities, right? Like after the installation of the operating system, what are all the post-build checklists that you have to make sure? The first thing is we need to make sure the computer has got the proper name. Okay, means you need to rename the computer to the company standard. Whatever company maintains the standard, right? That standard you have to maintain. Okay, and then you need to make sure you have created the right disk, and you have to make sure you have given the right access to the required stakeholders, and you need to make sure the computer has got all the applications, and whether the if it is a desktop, we need to make sure you have the Outlook installed and configured, and you have to make sure the VPN client is installed, and also the other any agents. If it is a server, you need to make sure the backup agent is configured, the monitoring agent is configured. So there are so many things are there. As soon as you get into any company, they will give you the list of checklists that you have to make sure. Okay, so we've discussed couple of checklists yesterday. So today predominantly I will explain about 2 3 things. One is how to install a VPN client, another one is how to install the Microsoft Office packages and how to configure the Outlook, and then another one is how to do the patching activity and domain joining. Okay, these 4 things I am going to show you today. Okay, so if you see here in my desktop, you can see a setup file got opened. So this setup file is nothing but I am going to install a VPN client. Okay, there are a lot of VPN clients are there. If you talk about Cisco they have got Cisco AnyConnect. That is one of the VPN client. Okay, and I am going to install the 40 client. So 40 client is also one of the majorly used VPN client. So say for example, when the engineers are connected from home, when they are doing work from home, how they will establish the connection? By sitting at their home and the servers which are there in the office, that too in a secure manner. See, internet means there is no security, because internet means anybody can access. So if that is the case, you are using the internet connection to establish the connection between your home and the office. Correct, right? Then we need to make sure the data is secured. Virtual private network, VPN is nothing but virtual private network. Okay, so it is the a technology used to connect in secured communication channel between your home network or public network to the office network or private network in a secured manner. So whatever the data that you transfer in between your source and destination, here the data is hi, hello, how are you? Okay, this data will be flowed inside this channel. Okay, by encrypting, end-to-end encrypting. There are multiple encryption technologies are there. You can use any technology that you wanted to encrypt the data. So when you encrypt the data is secured. Even somebody looks at this data also, they will not be able to understand. They cannot be able to understand. They will not even know what exactly the data is flowing in between. Okay, that is called as virtual private network. Okay, so there are multiple VPN clients are there. Okay, so in Cisco we have Cisco AnyConnect. Cisco AnyConnect. Okay, and the second one is you have 40 client. 40 client VPN client. Okay, so in the lab environment, what I have done, I am going to show you how can you install a VPN client. In my case it is 40 client, and how to configure the connectivity between your office network and the home network. Okay, let me take you to the my wizard. Sorry, let me take you to the my virtual machine. Yeah, if you see here, I'm already downloaded this package 40 client installer file. Okay, I have established the internet connection here. If you see, if you open the Edge, you can browse Google. Let me say google.com. See here, I am able to browse the internet. Internet is coming here. See, internet is coming. See, Google is working fine. Okay. So as soon as I double click on this setup file, it got downloaded couple of files. Okay, and it is asking me to begin with the installation wizard. Click on I have read and accept the license and terms and conditions. Click on next, and it is asking what you want to, what kind of setup you wanted, what type of secure remote access, vulnerability scanner, advanced persistent threat components, and zero trust network access. So multiple features are there. I only need this two. Yesterday I was referring right, vulnerability scan will also be done. So this 40 client will help you both VPN connection as well as the vulnerability scanner. So in my case I will install only the two. And do you want additional software? I don't need any additional software. Like click on next, next, and click on install. So it will take 30-40 seconds to get installed. Once the package is installed, it will prompt you a wizard. Okay, there you need to create the connection between your source and the destination. Okay, let us wait for this to complete. Now if you see, the setup is completed. I'll click on finish, and you see here there is a VPN client called 40 client has got created. You can double click on that, then the connection, I mean the wizard will be opened. So this is the wizard, and as soon as the wizard gets opened, you see here you have an option called remote access. Means it is a option which will facilitate you establish the connection between your computer and the your office premises network, your office network. Okay, so now what I have to do, I have to enable the connection. So click on configure VPN. Okay, you give some connection, maybe VPN home to office. Description you can give. So it's a VPN tunnel. Okay, and remote gateway. So this is very important. This remote gateway will be a public IP address or some NATed IP address. Okay, NATed means in the backend it will have a different IP address, but for the outside word it is showing in a different word. Okay, let me take you to the one node. I will explain about the NATing. Okay, so NATing is nothing but network address translation. NATing is nothing but network NAT. So NAT means it is network address translation. Okay, so what happens, say for example, for the external word, if this IP address looks like 192.168.1.100, but as soon as you are typing this to access some application called 192.168.1.100, in the backend it will have a different IP address, maybe 1.2.3.4. So the actual IP address is this one. So what we have done, to secure and to increase the security of my application, I am not exposing this IP address to the external world. Instead of that, I am masking this 1.2.3.4 IP address to this 192.168.1.100. But when you are typing this 192.168.1.100, you can see this as 1.100. But in the back end, the connectivity will be getting established for 1.2.3.4. Means it is masking its identity and it is presenting in a different name or different IP address. That is called as network address translation. Okay, so that is what I was referring here. When you go to the VPN client, is it will ask for the remote gateway. The remote gateway, either it can be a public IP or it's a NATed IP. So say for example it is 192.168.1.100 and port 443, it is a secured port. The connection will be established in a secured manner. Means any connection that is, any data that is flowing in between this source and destination will be secured. Means it is encrypted. The data will not be transferred in a plain text. Even if you send hi hello how are you, that message will not straight away go as hi hello how are you. It may go as 00112223 hhkk, like that in a different machine understandable format. We cannot understand. Even if you get that data, you cannot decrypt what exactly, you cannot decrypt and understand what exactly the data is flowing in between. Okay, that is called as secured. And if you want any kind of certificates, you can, if they will give you the certificates, you can use the certificates. Okay, and let me save it. Now you see, if I freshly open the VPN connection 40 client, there if you go to the connection, you will have a connection, you can see a connection there. If you go to remote access, you see here the new connection is created. This is your VPN home to office. Now you have to enter your username. Maybe your username is admin and your password is some XYZ. And see, it is, the status is 10%, 20%, 30%. Now what happens? It will send a authentication request to your office VPN server, and the VPN server will verify your access. If access is there for the user called admin and the password whatever is entering it is matching, then it will allow him to connect to the network. Then once the connectivity is established, you can see this network connection symbol here. In my case, it is a lab environment. I don't have any VPN server, but I'm just creating a dummy client just to make you understand. Okay, then once the connectivity is established, you can see a computer connection like this. Then you can directly connect your computers. Okay, you go to the go to run and type mstsc Microsoft Terminal Service, or you can even type here remote desktop. If you type remote desktop, you will see the remote desktop connection thing. There, whatever computers you want to connect, say for example 192.168.1.100, you can connect like this. Then it will ask username and password, and then you can connect to the computer. I'll show you that. Okay, so this is how you have to install the VPN client. And in the VPN there are two types of authentication. Okay, one is username and password based authentication. So if somebody asks you what kind of authentication you had, you can straight away tell there were two types of authentication. One is username and password based authentication. Another one is certificate based authentication. Certificate based authentication. Okay, so normally what happens, you will install a certificate. As soon as you enable the connection in the certificate server, it will see what metadata is there in that certificate. If the data whatever is present in that certificate is getting matched with the one which is there in the VPN server, then it will allow you to the getting into the network. That means it's a kind of passwordless. Certificate based authentications are more secured. Okay, because nobody cannot duplicate the certificates, and there will be one certificate for one computer. You cannot take my certificates and install in your certificate, because every certificate should be certified by the certificate server. Okay, so there are two types of authentication for the VPN. You can enter username and password and then connect. Another one is certificate based authentication. So with respect to the VPN, what kind of issues you may get at office? Like you may need to ask to install the VPN client freshly. You may need to ask the VPN connection created freshly, and you may need to ask the certificate to be installed freshly. So these are the only three things you will get. Or sometimes people will tell, I'm trying to enter the username and password, I'm unable to connect to the VPN. Then you need to check whether the user's password is expired or valid. If the password is expired, they will not be able to log into the computer or establish the VPN connection. Okay, so this is about the overall VPN. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay, I think silence is no. I'll take it as no. Thank you.